Now, there's one other thing I want to ask you, and be frank, we didn't talk about this before, but if people wanted to contact you by email, I know that it was a bit for me to get that. Would you want people emailing you, or would you rather have them send it through me and I'll pass it along to you? If you wish to field emails at all, how do you feel about that? And be honest.
I can use you as a front because I get inundated with so much emails that this morning when I opened it up, I didn't have any emails last night at 1 o'clock when I closed down. When I woke up this morning, I had 282 emails. And about 30% of them was the garbage mails, that across, all the sex stuff and the porn stuff and the bank stuff and buy this and buy
It's a good
that.
group to be involved with the porn.
Yeah, right.
Bank stuff. All right.
Maybe if I made the book into a porn book, I'd sell more of them.
Well, it kind of is pornography. It's just that it's legalized.
Right.
All right, so let people pass it through me at visigoth@hotmail.com. We'll deal with that. We're about 13 minutes, 12 minutes left in this, and the thing is I want to bring you back to something, but and let me do that with this question. Speaking about Switzerland, where the Bank of International Settlements is it still there, located in Switzerland?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
In fact, Gonzalez, not the Attorney General,
right,
but Gonzalez was on the Banking Commission, and we had talked to him.
Is that Henry from Texas?
Pardon?
Is that Henry from Texas?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was talking about the big boys, and it was on one of the shows like 60 Minutes, and he mentioned about you don't mess with the big boys. Meaning, when he was talking, even the United States government doesn't mess with the big boys because they control the United States. That's it.
And that would be the bankers.
That's right, the international bankers.
Can we also assume that the reason why Switzerland has been so wonderfully untouched and neutral through all the wars that have ravaged Europe is because that's where everybody keeps their change?
That's right. Yep. And what was interesting too, during the war, G Farben was a company in Germany.
Exactly.
And I had my uncle who was a B-17 bomber pilot, and I now am he's since died, but there's another World War II bomber pilot in the flew B-17s, and he lives here in North Carolina, and I'm conversing with him, and he visits me every once in a while and tells me a lot of stories, and he was saying that when they had a bomb run, they could not bomb G Farben.
Mm-hmm.
G Farben Corporation only lost 15% of its property by bombing. And the reason why is because it was a front for the international bankers in Germany at the time. And even America, the United States government, actually knew it and informed their pilots, don't bomb G Farben. In fact, my uncle, when he was alive, he told me, he says, after they went back, he talked to a lot of German people that worked there, and he says, we would sit out on our lawn, and we would watch you go over while we're eating our lunch. Mm-hmm. We knew that you weren't going to bomb us.
I mean, if I could, I don't think I've talked about this on the air. Can I tell you a short anecdote that resonates with what you've said?
Sure.
Thank you. I guess you have to say yes, but
yeah. All right. You own the show.
No, but real quick, because I just told you the other day I watched Catch-22, and what it was doing, it was telling us right out loud the corporations wagged the whole war, and this is in a movie in 1970, which, as you said, I was young, chasing skirts, watched the movie, and didn't get it. You know what I mean? But here's what I want to tell you. I was working sales in D.C. back in 1977, and a guy corners me. And he was in the Army in World War II. He asked me what I thought about Vietnam. And I didn't want to get into that kind of conversation. I said, look, I'm only going to tell you I really don't understand what it was all about. I was spared because I had a 1S, and I never went. He went on to regale me about just what you said, that when he was in the trenches with the other grunts, they were getting teased by radio. Like, people don't think that Tokyo Rose didn't happen with the Germans, too. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they went after each other. And so they were taunting the Americans that you don't know where these places are because if you did, you'd bomb them. And it went back and forth. Well, one day what happened was the word went down the trenches that indeed the American Air Force went up Army Air Force, and dumped garbage on the plants to let them know, yes, you SOBs, we know where you are, but we cannot destroy you. And that gentleman looked at me and he said, from that point onward, he said, we don't care who wins this damn war, it's about us getting back alive.
Yes.
So excellent that you brought that up. I'm glad you did, because that is the way things are.
Well, that's why the war in Vietnam was fought over rubber. It was Firestone that was going to be hurt because of the synthetic rubber and the real rubber. You need real rubber, even in synthetic tires.
Right.
And that's what that was actually fought over. The French fought over it for years, and they told the United States don't get involved. Of course, we got involved, and that's why in World War I, the reason why we entered World War I, and this is coming from the research that I have done sitting in the library for hours and hours, one thing leads to another, and you'll find all these offshoots, how they tie in to corporations and the banking system. Rockefeller had Standard Oil, and owned Standard Oil, and he had oil wells in Saudi Arabia, and he had contracts with them. During World War I, Germany would not allow him to go through Europe, through Germany, to get to Saudi Arabia, and that's why Rockefeller had actually instituted the First World War, because of that oil that he had been denied by going through Germany. So that's what he got the United States.
And let's remember, too, that he was behind the Bolshevik Revolution along with Jacob Schiff.
Yes. Not only that, but that's why in the research that I found, that in 1933, when Roosevelt himself, who was a buddy of Rockefeller, he wanted to start war with Japan in 1933. But they told him, no, hold off. The reason why is because of Rockefeller and the oil reserves in China. That he had contracts with the oil reserves in China. And he had a lot of oil wells in there. And he was afraid Japan would go in and confiscate those oil wells in China. And he didn't want that. Anyway, Stimson, who was the Secretary of State, had convinced Roosevelt to hold off. And then when the infamous attack on Pearl Harbor, which Roosevelt knew about, Stimson knew about, because he was over there in China, in Japan at the day that the planes were coming towards Pearl, and they were notified, before the day before. They allowed that to happen to get the American people so incensed that they would allow Roosevelt to declare war on Japan unknowingly amongst the American people to protect the oil interests that Rockefeller had.
There was a book called